That's all we have on the global market front. But how will all of these overnight cues impact our own markets? Not that they matter in a gap up like this, but we have our research team joining in with how the trade setup looks like and the stocks that are likely to be in the news. Firstly, Vivek joins in with all the market cues you need to watch out for. Vivek, good morning. A very strong gap up in the offing. What's the setup looking like now?
Well, good morning. Absolutely right. Nothing to complain as far as this Monday morning is concerned. Over 400 points gap up is what the GIFT Nifty is indicating. And like you mentioned, almost 1,000 points recovery as far as from the Thursday lows are concerned if this particular gap up sustains at 9:15 a.m. Now, just looking at, what the kind of handover received and how did the markets fare in the week gone by. Number one, all U.S. markets ended in the green. Now, despite the kind of volatility that we saw, when you're talking about the Indian markets, they too managed to end with some gains. Oil prices, however, in the week gone by, managed to go ahead and recover almost 5% from the recent lows. So oil prices on Friday, Brent actually gained 1.27% to end and hover around the $75 a barrel mark. Now, talking about, what is it that we'll be watching out for? Number one, remember, the reaction to the poll outcome to Maharashtra as well as Jharkhand, and this is something that's aiding the GIFT Nifty risk-on rally. Along with that, remember, today is an important day as far as passive indices are concerned. Today is the day in which you will see the MSCI adjustments actually take place in the sessions, 5 editions, and also the weight up as far as HDFC Bank is concerned. A little over $2 billion of inflows is what we will see into trade today. Now, also talking about the kind of handover received as far as Asian markets are concerned, very strong. Most of the Asian markets are up. No wonder then you're seeing and expecting a very strong gap up start to the markets today.
Is reflecting in how. Vivek, thanks a lot for that. Over to Vamakshi now, who would list out the stocks that you need to watch out for. Vamakshi, good morning. What's on your list?
Well, good morning, Hormaz. Let me first start off with the Rani group of companies, and that is because the petitioner in the Hindenburg case has filed a fresh plea in the Supreme Court, urging that malpractices are of serious nature and should be investigated by Indian agencies. And this application was filed on Saturday. In addition to that, keep an eye out on Adani Energy, and that is because the company has clarified that neither the company nor any of its units are involved in any airport project referred to in the media reports. They further clarify that contents of the Reuters media report with respect to any airport in Kenya do not pertain to the company as well as its subsidiaries. Zomato is another counter that we will be watching out for, because the board has, the shareholders have given a nod to the 8,500 crores fundraise via QIP. Aurobindo Pharma's arm has entered into a collaboration and licensing agreement with a global pharma major company for products across the respiratory therapeutic area. Alembic Pharma is another counter we will be watching out for. US FDA has issued a Form 483 with 5 procedural observations after an inspection at the company's solid oral formulation facility in Jarod. Bliss GVS Pharma manufacturing facility in Parghar has received a certificate of GMP compliance from National Agency for Medicines and Medical Devices of Romania. Escorts Kubota also on our radar, and that is because Escorts Kubota Finance Limited, which is the wholly owned subsidiary of the company, intends to commence its business activities of non-banking financial institution without accepting public deposits from November 26th onwards. Cochin Shipyard has entered into an MOU with Seatrum Litorno USA for the design and critical equipment for jackup rigs for the Indian market. Writes an order win worth almost 531.7 crores from Northeastern Front Railway. RVNL, an LOA has been received from Eastern Railway, and this project cost is almost 837 crores with RVNL share at almost 76%. And lastly, let's watch out for Jyoti Structures. Board has given its nod to fundraise up to 500 crores by way of rights issue.
Plenty of stocks to watch out for, Vamakshi. Thanks a lot for that. And lastly, Mangalam joins in with cues from the FNO space. Mangalam, good morning. What's the setup on the FNO side looking like now?
Well, extremely strong. On Friday, we saw a big move in the markets. So part of the street was anticipating, favorable election results. But to the extent of results that we got, that was something that was now reflected in the GIFT Nifty. So the big question that we ask post Maharashtra verdict and, the way the markets have moved, is this the start of a new fresh bull run on the indices itself after a pause? That's the big question that we're asking. Why do we say that? Because one, on Friday, with the markets moving higher, the FII selling came down to around 1,250 odd crores on the cash basis, which is the lowest that we've seen since November 2024, November 1, 2024. And remember, November 1 was the Muhurat trading day. So if you adjust for that, it's actually the lowest that we've seen all the way since October 29th itself. The FI has bought about 3,000 crores in index futures, and for the first time in a long time, we saw some shorts cover their positions. So 17,000 shorts covering their position and nearly 30,000 longs being added. And this has been a secular trend that we've seen over the last 4 trading sessions. The FII net contracts, which were close to 2.2 lakh on the obverse side, and long exposure, which was just 24% in 4 trading sessions itself, has now come down to 1.5 lakh, and it's 31% long exposure. If the market sustains the opening gap up and continues to move higher, then there is a fair amount of short covering possible because of the shorts in the system. There are still 69% positions by the FIs on the short side. And if you're talking about index futures, look at the bullishness that the FIs showed in stock futures. They bought about 12,000 crores in stock futures, added 1 lakh long contracts, covered 87,000 short contracts, and their long exposure there is 62% itself. What should one do after this big gap up? Remember, the Nifty 24,000 call saw a fair amount of short covering on Friday. Today, it could be the day for the 24,500 mark. We're opening close to 24,300, 24,350 thereabouts. After that, the 24,500 call, which has the maximum open interest, comes into play. On the way down, however, were we to see profit booking after this big gap up, the 20-day moving average, which is a little over 24,000, will now come into play as a strong support. On the way up beyond 24,500, we'll be looking at 24,780 to 24,705. But remember, just as on the way down, levels did not matter as much. We were breaking down through them. On the way up, if there is a powerful rally, then all these levels would be taken out as well. The question, once again, is it a start of a fresh bull run after a brief pause?
The bulls would certainly hope so, isn't it, Mangalam? Thanks a lot for that update.